Thank you. I must admit, this question I found profoundly annoying because I thought I had an answer, and moments later I thought about it and realised, no, I didn't like my answer. I rewrote it, and I rewrote it, and I've rewritten it. So I was actually left with more questions than I started. So first of all, what do we mean by modern music? I know it's a simple question, but a really complicated one. Before their announcement of their reunion, would Oasis be considered modern? I think most people would probably say not. But are they now modern if they're regrouping? What if the band never split in the first place? So the Rolling Stones have been touring for decades. Are they still modern? Again, most people wouldn't say the answer is yes, but technically, if they're still together, they could be considered a modern band. So just thinking about what modern even means in terms of classifications, common style would be to go by decade, the 60s era of music, the 70s. Again, we talk in broad brushstrokes here, but it's a pigeonhole that works, but also has drawbacks, which we're going to look at. Another one is, where in the world are we talking about? It might seem that we just say the United Kingdom, but does that include America? The back and forth of music between those. But then we look at other countries, for example, Edith Piaf. I looked in a cursory search on the United Nations. There's 195 recognised countries. It feels a bit wrong to exclude many of them, and I'm sure those countries could contribute great music here too, that we may not have heard of. And yet, how far back do we even think about going? Can you compare vastly different styles? So, for example, opera music to something like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, I love both, but it would seem almost counterintuitive to try and go to a performance of either and expect something similar. You would want very different experiences. I'm sure you'd get that. So, at the end of having considered this, I do feel profoundly sort of befuddled, and it's made me rethink a lot of what I was going to say. I mean, actually going back, out of curiosity, I thought, what's the oldest recorded idea of music? And it was a bone flute that was discovered 60,000, it goes back 60,000 years to the Paleolithic era. So music's been around a very long time, and I feel pretty confident that music critics have been around just as long, because somebody out there was going, I like the earlier stuff, I don't like this new bone flute material. And that's something that you're going to see. When people produce something great, someone else comes along and goes, I prefer the old stuff. It's just a tale as old as time. So these are just some ideas to think about. And when we say nostalgia, I mean, people go back and say perhaps nostalgia's bad and things, but one of the worst things a lead singer can say if you go to a band, to see a live concert, is, here's one from the new album. Everyone goes, no, shut up, we want to hear the old stuff. And it's true, right? There is this sort of like lull in energy of, here we go, like Mick Jagger, just play Gimme Shelter and get on with it, So these are the things to consider. Do we actually want new music? I'd say most people would say yes, but do we want older musicians to produce new music? Well, that's another question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.